Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. So the last session we have seen how to design a distributed application using remoting. So as we discussed, when you talk about remoting is a platform dependent technology which provides communication between only homogeneous platforms. So if the data has to be transmitted, exchanged between different platforms, so remoting is not useful. Then your approach should be towards another powerful technology which is called web services. Web services. When it comes to web service, again, same thing. When it comes to web service, it is a platform independent technology which provides communication between different platforms and different technologies. Again, when you want to send something from one end to another end using web service, again, you need to make use of two protocols. What are those? Formatting protocol, next, transmission protocol. What is the use of formatting protocol? So whatever you want to send, so first that has to be arranged in a specific format. So formatting protocol will take care of arranging your data in the expected format. And transmission protocol will take care of transferring data from one end to another end. So when something has to be transferred over the network, you should make use of two protocols. There is a remoting web service irrespective of the things. One is formatting protocol, another one is transmission. Okay. So when it comes to formatting protocol, in remoting, we have used binary stream, like binary protocol, binary formatter. So what remoting will do in case of remoting? So remoting will send everything in the binary format. Okay. So, but when it comes to web services, as I said, it is a platform independent technology. If you're sending something, that should be understandable. That should be in understandable format because other end should also understand what you're sending. Okay. So whatever you're sending should be understandable to everyone, all the clients, all the receivers. Okay. So that's why when it comes to web service, as I said, it's a platform independent technology which provides communication between different platforms. So whatever communication in the sense, your data. So whatever you are sending, that should be understandable to all receivers, all clients. Okay. So I say what it will do, it will make use of SOAP protocol to arrange your request and response. Your remitting will make use of binary formatter. So everything will be sent in the form of binary stream. That's why other end cannot understand. Only homogeneous platform, only the same platform can understand your binary stream. But when it comes to web services, it is a platform independent technology. The arrangement of data will be done based on SOAP protocol, simple object access protocol. So what SOAP will do? SOAP will arrange your data in XML format. XML format. So when you talk about XML, it is an open industry standard, which any platform can understand it. XML can be easily consumed by any platform. When it comes to remoting will arrange your request and response in binary stream. So when it comes to binary stream, so it is platform specific language. Only that same platform can understand binary stream. But when it comes to SOAP, it will arrange your data like request and response in XML format. When it comes to XML, it is an open industry standard. Any platform can understand XML. Unix can understand, Linux can understand, any platform can understand XML. So if you're sending something in XML format, so the receiver can easily consume and can easily understand what you're sending. Okay, so that's why it has become platform independent. Why it has become platform independent? The communication will be exchanged in XML format. So anyone can understand XML. So whoever consuming your service, they will become consumers or receivers or clients. They can easily understand your information, your data. So that's why if you send something through web service, it can be accepted by different platforms. So using web service, you will be able to communicate with different platforms because the information will be exchanged in the form of XML. And to arrange your data in XML format, if you do follow some standards, those standards are called SOAP protocol. Protocol means what? Set of standards is called a protocol. Here we make use of SOAP standards to arrange your data in XML format. Are you getting me? Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Okay. So when it comes to SOAP, it looks something like this. SOAP structure, envelope, XML structure, end of SOAP envelope, and it contains body and header. SOAP header, and SOAP body, end of SOAP body, something like this. It looks something like this. So it's SOAP header, you can transmit the credential information, and SOAP body, so you can place your actual operations information. For example, if you want to transfer two operations, add and product, are you with me? So it goes something like this. The operation name, add, end of add. If that takes any parameters, right? For example, it takes two parameters, A, 10, end of A. Next, B, 20, end of B. Are you with me? So it will go something like this. So this is called standard your XML structure. So as I said, when it comes to SOAP, it has different specific standards, like what should be there in the header, what should be there in the body. Those are called standards. So standards are called protocols, right? So simple object access protocol is a standard which helps you to arrange your data in XML format, in a specific XML format. Now your data will be exchanged in the form of XML. So you are going to send your data in XML format. And when it comes to receiver, so now your data is coming in XML format. You can easily understand, you can easily consume the data that sent from the another system. Any questions, guys? So you don't have to create it manually. This will be created automatically by the system. Okay. Right. Next, transmission protocol. As I said, we have different types of transmission protocols like TCP, HTTP, and HTTPS. What is the difference between TCP and HTTP? TCP provides communication between homogeneous platforms. It is a platform dependent and it is very limited. It has very limited features and it is not that much secure. And when it comes to HTTP, it is an independent protocol which provides access to any platform. Okay. So now web service is a platform independent technology. So if you want, you can host it using TCP. But if I host it using TCP, it will become platform dependent, right? So to make it platform independent, so whatever the things, whatever the resources that we are using, everything should be platform independent. So that's why TCP is not useful here. Either you would use HTTP or HTTPS. If you are going to transfer more sensitive data, if that data has to be transferred securely, then go with HTTPS. It's a more secure protocol compared to HTTP. It comes with one additional layer that would protect your data from hackers. S means secure. HTTPS is more secure than this. Okay. So now, if you want to develop a web service, now you need to know about your protocols, like how to arrange my data and how to transmit my data. So how do I arrange my data? My data should be arranged using SOAP protocol into XML format. And how do I transmit my data? I have to use either HTTP or HTTPS. Any questions, please?
No.
And rest of the process is same. Create your requirements, create your server application. And once your server application is ready, once your service is hosted, it can be consumed from any client, from console, Windows, web. Okay. So let's see how to create a web service. So in remoting, we have written a lot of code manually, but when it comes to web service, so Microsoft is providing a ready-made template, like, the technology where you don't have to write that much lines of code. Okay, you just need to provide your operations and the rest of the things will be taken care by your web service technology. So open your Visual Studio. And most of the services are still exist most of the services, because this web API has been introduced few years ago, but before 2 to 3 years, we used to develop all distributed applications using web service only, but still you will see a lot of applications exist in web services. That's why you need to be aware of web service also. But whatever you are developing right now, okay, so we stopped using web services for all new applications. Now we are using only web API. We are developing only web API. New project, and select your ASP.NET web application, .NET framework. Here you will see two. This is Visual Basic, this is C#. If you want to write your operations in VB.NET, use this. If you want to write your operations C#, select this. So we are going to develop our operations in C# and select this template. And my first math service. Okay. Here you can choose the respective framework. Create. Empty. If I choose empty, I can use it as a web form like ASP.NET web application. I can use it as a web service. Okay. Just create it. This is empty template provided with few basic things. The properties, which contains assembly information, and references that are being referred by your application, like base class libraries, and the configuration file, web.config. Now, let's add the web service. Go to add a new item. Here, choose. So the extension of your web service file. What is the extension of web page? .aspx. So the extension of web service file is .asmx. Active server method extension. .asmx. So if you don't see that file like web service.asmx here, just search for it. Here I can see web service ASMX, right? Give the name. Let's say my math service. Math service. You can give any name. Add it. See, it comes with two files, .asmx and .asmx.cs. Okay, so this is the code behind file. Here you can see each method. So this is your service. Okay, this is your class, public class math service, which inherits web service. So this is your class, and inside your class, whatever the service that you wanted to provide, every method, each method is called as one service here. Every method should be considered as a web method. You would use a property called web method. If I don't use this property, so this will not be exposed to the end user. It will not be considered as a web service. So you have to use this property. Okay. And let's write small programs like public int add of int a comma int b. Return a plus b. Return a plus b. And you can write a number of services. Web method, product, return a into b. Okay. And not only one service. First, let's run this. That's it. And rest of the things will be automatically taken, like creating your channel, and this stuff will be automatically taken care by your web service. Okay. Because this is a kind of ready-made technology where you don't have to write, like the stuff, the code for creating the channels and those stuff. Those things will be automatically taken care by your web service. Now run this. See, now this has been hosted using HTTPS, right? It will make use of either HTTP or HTTPS. Now, this is my service. The following operations are supported. Okay. Add, click on add. This is a kind of, tester, your web service tester. We are testing it locally. Now here I can see the SOAP structure. See here. This is the XML structure. As I said, it contains XML envelope. In envelope, you will see the schema information, the URL and everything. And it contains XML body. Your actual method and parameter information will be there in the XML body. See here you can see. Okay. Now I can test it. 10, 20, invoke. And again, the result has been produced in the XML format. Result is 30. Okay. And okay, I'll go back. Click here for complete stuff. I have two operations, add and product. If you want to know, if you want to see the schema information of these two, like the definition of these two products, you just need to press dash colon WSDL. WSDL means web service description language. Web service description language. This is a language used by your web service. Okay, so where you can see it will make use of a specific language to define your structure, define the structure of request and response. So that is called web service description language. If I press colon like a question mark and WSDL, WSDL means web service description language. It will give me the complete information of your web service, like how many operations are there, what is the type of that operation, and what is going to be written from that operation. Every information will be provided here. Any questions, guys?
No.
Okay.
No, sir.
So this is called web service description language. Next. And not only these operations, you can add a number of services like this. This is my math service. Add another service. Now I want to, for example, in the previous scenarios, when we designed a web application and ASP.NET web application and Windows application, we did perform different database operations with the database. There we called stored procedures and queries directly, right? Because we have direct access to our database. But there will be some scenarios where you should not expose your stored procedures and your database details to third party. Whoever wants to consume your service, they should not see your actual things. Your actual implementation, actually the core database part, and whatever is there in the database should not be exposed to the consumers. In that case, you should not grant access, you should not grant them the access to your database. Those guys should not be allowed to touch your database objects directly. Those guys should not be allowed to access your data directly. They should be allowed to perform some database operations like insertion, updation, deletion. But they should not be allowed directly to your database. In the previous case, what we did in Windows and web, we were calling the stored process directly from our Windows and web application. It means, yes, you have access to the database. That's why you're able to call them directly. If the access is granted to third party, sometimes you may need to expose your operations to some third party systems. For example, payment gateway. Payment gateway. What is the role of payment gateway? It will capture the card information and send it to respective banks. So it is facilitating some operations, banking operations. If you're allowed to access their DB directly, what happens? You can make many things. So in this case, when something needs to be provided to the third party, when something has to be exposed to the third party, you should not expose the core part directly to the third party. Rather, keep a layer between third party and your database and expose your operations through that layer. That way, you'll be able to provide security to the your core objects. Right? So there is some third party. I want allow those people to perform some operations because they are providing some services to me. That's why I would like to transfer some of my responsibility to the third party, but still I'd like to keep some restrictions. I don't want to allow them directly to the database. Those people should not be allowed to your database. I don't want to grant them the direct access to my database. Rather, I want to expose these operations through a service where they should be able to see only the operation, but they should not see any database objects. So in between your third party or database, I'd like to keep a medium. They should perform all the operations through this medium. I'd like to expose my operations through this medium. I don't allow them to access my DB access directly. So in this case, your web service is useful. Whenever you want to provide some services to third party, when you want to expose something to the third party, then we require a web service. Right? For example, there is some team, there is a third party team. They're also working for my business. They'll also be updating something, inserting something. So if I grant them direct access to my database, they can go to my database and make anything, right? They may corrupt my database and they can do many things. That's why I don't want to allow them to access my database directly. Rather, I want to allow them to perform these operations through my web service. It means I'd like to expose these operations through a web service. If they want to insert something, they should not call the stored procedure directly. They should not be allowed to touch the stored procedures directly. Rather, they have to call my service and they have to perform that operation through my service. My service will have access to my database. So, when it comes to real-time environment, so where exactly we'll be using the services? Okay. This is my database, right? This is my database. My database will have a lot of DB objects. My database will have a lot of DB objects. It will have tables, lot of tables. It contains views, triggers, and stored procedures. Like HP underscore save, HP underscore update, HP underscore delete, right? Now we are designing an application. Okay. For example, there are two kinds of teams. We are designing an application. This is UI, right? It has add new user screen, update user screen, right? And delete user screen. If you want to add a new user, if the user information has to be saved into this database, what has to be done? You have to establish a connection between your UI and database. In this case, what has to be done? In order to perform any operation within this DB, you should have this DB information. I mean, you should have access to this DB information. If the access is granted to you, what happens? You can perform these operations through this UI, and you can also directly log into this database and perform these operations from backend. If this application is an internal application, if this is being used by only internal employees, then there is no issue. Let us assume that there is a third-party team they will make use of this application. If the DB information is shared with this third-party team, what happens? There will be no security for your data. They can perform operations from here. They can directly log into the database and do whatever they wanted to. There will be a security threat. There will be a security threat. That's why I don't want to allow any application to access my DB directly. This UI can be from anywhere. This UI can be from anywhere. Where it is being used by internal employees or external employees doesn't matter. No one should be allowed to access my DB directly. Rather, I don't want to use this. I want to keep a medium. I want to keep a medium. This medium is mine. It's not a user interface. This will not be visible to everyone, right? I want to grant access to this medium. I want to grant access to this medium. And whatever the operations to be allowed for these UIs, I'd like to expose all these operations like save, update, delete, and all these operations through this medium. Here, what I will do, here I will write some methods here. Add new user, update user, delete user, right? This is my service. I don't want to allow them to access my DB access directly. Rather, I'd like to keep a medium and I want to expose these operations through a medium. So this medium is called as your web service. This medium is called as your web service. Now, when it comes to third-party systems, now what happens? They will not interact directly with your database. Rather, they will interact with your service. Now, what happens? They don't even know the name of the database because I give full access to my service. I created my own service. It is very confidential. It belongs to me. No one can touch this service, right? Now, this service will have access to my DB. Now, I'm exposing all these operations. Here, I have written some operations like how to add new user, how to update new user, how to delete user. So this method knows which SP has to be called. This method knows which query has to be executed. And this method knows which SP has to be called. Are you with me? And when it comes to third-party systems, what they will do, they just need to make a call to this service. If they want to add new user, just call this service. That's it. This service will internally interact with your database. Now, what happening? We are not exposing our DB directly to the third party, right? They don't even know what is being called from this service. They don't even know the database name. They don't know anything about your database. It is very difficult with your database. Alright? So, whenever you need to expose some services, some operations to the third party, do not expose them directly. Do not grant them access directly to a database. Rather, whatever needs to be exposed. Here, for example, I'd like to expose only add new user functionality. That's it. In my database, I can perform n different operations. But for third party, I would like to restrict these operations. It should not be allowed to update or delete. It should be allowed to only add new things. In this case, I can expose only add new user. Alright me. Now, if you try to delete it, update it, can he? No, it doesn't even know where is your database and what is the name of your database and how to log in. Alright me. So that's why when it comes to web service, there are a lot of advantages. It provides a lot of security to your data and database. Alright me. And you could have a better control over your operations. Whatever needs to be exposed to the third party, you can expose only those operations. Okay, but what is the need of a service? Whenever you need to expose your operations to third parties, then we need a service. This service can be a remoting service. This service can be a web service. This service can be a web API. Alright, so if the operations are to be exposed to same platforms, you can go with remoting. If these operations are to be available to different platforms, then go with web service or web API. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's see. Let's implement one of these example. Okay. Now, this is our service. This is my service. Okay. Our organization owns this service. Now I can trust this service. I can grant access to this service. If any third party wants to touch my database, they should not touch it directly. Rather, they can interact with my database through this service. I'm going to expose my operations through this service. I'm going to add one more service. Add new item. So it is the web service ASMX employee service. Employee service. Here I'm going to change this. Create a model. Public class employee and write two properties and go to your database. Here we have employee DB tables employee. And పంపించేసేవాళ్ళని బయటకు పంపించేసి. Okay, so we have an employee table which contains employee ID, employee name, salary, and address. So create 4 properties. Let's press pop tab. What is the first field name? EMPID. EMP name. Next, salary and address. Address. Okay, so this is my employee class. Okay, now I'm going to write some methods. Public. You could also, expose a data table, data set. Okay, data table. Here you have to import these things using system dot data, using system dot data dot SQL client, because we need to interact with SQL server. Public data set or data table, anything is fine. Get employee here EMP integer. If I send some employee ID, it should get that respective employee EMP ID. Right. Data table, some DT EMP is equal to new data table. Now what should I do? I should establish connection to the database. Go to web.config. Okay, here you can write app settings. Add key is equal to DB connection string and value is equal to server is equal to database is equal to employee DB. Next, trusted underscore connection is equal to true. And what is the server name? LP001287. Right? Next. Now go to your ASMX file. Now what should I do? So I should create this thing, SQL connection. OBJ con is equal to new SQL connection. Prepare a connection object. OBJ con dot connection string is equal. From where do I get it? I should get it from web.config. So for this, you have to import one more library. That is system.configuration. So it stores, it contains all the classes related to your configuration file. Then we have a class called configuration manager dot app settings of. Provide the key dot toString. What is the key name? It is DB connection string. If you provide the key, the corresponding value will be extracted. Next, prepare your command object. SQL command, OBJ command is equal to SQL command. Okay. Now here, if OBJ connection, check the state. State is equal to connection state dot closed. If it is closed, then only go ahead and get this. No need to reassign every time and open the connection. OBJ con dot open. Right. Now prepare your command object, new SQL command. OBJ command dot command type. Let's say I want to pass direct SQL query. You can call stored procedure. Okay. Select star from employee where EMP ID is equal to employee ID supplied by the user. Dot toString. So it will get all records from employee where employee ID is equal to employee ID supplied from the calling environment. And probably can make use of SQL data reader, execute reader. Okay. So we specified the command text and specify the connection. OBJ command dot connection is equal to your SQL connection. OBJ con. Attach everything to your command object, connection and command. Okay. Now, if you want to make use of data adapter, you can also make use of data adapter. Let's say SQL data adapter. Before that, create a data set. Data set DSEMP is equal to new data set. SQL data, same coding. I'm not changing anything. OBJ adapter is equal to new SQL data adapter. So while building this, just provide your command as input parameter to this. That's it. Because command has everything. Command has connection information and what has to be executed. Now call fill method of your OBJ adapter. Dot fill of with what has to be filled? Data set DSEMP. You can directly return DSEMP dot tables of 0. This is not required. Any questions, guys? So now I'm exposing employee information. If third party wants to search for a particular employee, now he will not directly interact to the database. Rather, he will call my service, get employee service, where he just need to pass the employee ID. My service will take care of establishing the connection, executing command, and returning result back to the consumer. In the same way, write another method. get all employees, where parameter is not required, right? Select star from employee, that's it. Right? And as I said, to make it a service, you have to use web method property. Okay. Any questions? Now, if they want to save something, I'm going to write another method. Save employee. They need to send 3 parameters. Okay. So here I'd like to use this class as input parameter rather than giving too many parameters like employee ID, employee name, salary. Just create a type, a model with all the required parameters and give this as a parameter. Here I'm going to use employee EMP. You know what I will do? So this is going to be save, right? I should write here. I can write a stored procedure. Create pros sp underscore save employee. I would be needing how many parameters? Employee ID is the identity column, so no need to supply. EMP name, care of 100. Next, salary, money. Next, address, care of 300. As insert into employee. So what has to be inserted? EMP name, salary, next address. And what has to be inserted? Values at the rate EMP name. EMP name is supplied from the calling environment. At the rate salary, salary supplied from the calling environment. At the name address. Right? So execute this. Now let's call the stored procedure. Right? So command and command type is going to be here. Stored procedure. Obj command dot command type is equal to command type dot stored procedure. As I said, when it comes to database part, everything is going to be same. See, we are not changing anything. Whatever we have implemented in Windows and ASP.NET and web forms, again we are writing same thing. Okay, right. So it is going to be your stored procedure name because we are not supplying any direct SQL query. And we are calling a stored procedure. But the stored procedure takes 3 parameters. What are those? EMP name, salary, and address. Those parameters should be attached. So obj command dot parameters dot add with value. First parameter is EMP name. And value to be supplied to EMP name is it is going to come from end user. EMP dot EMP name. Next. This is for salary and this is for second parameter is salary. EMP dot salary. Next. Third parameter is going to be address. That has 3 parameters. So now we are going to save the data. So what has to be done? We should not make use of data set or those things. Rather call execute null query. Obj command dot execute null query. Okay. And as a result, you can send a Boolean value. You can send a string, return some success message. A record has been saved. Okay, in the same way you can perform update, delete. Now we are exposing all our operations to third party through this service. Any questions, guys?
No.
No.
No, sir.
Get all employees, get employee. Now what happens if anyone wants to get employee information? Earlier they used to call the database things directly. Now we revoke their access. Now we are exposing our services to this service. They have to call our service. You have to provide this URL to the consumer. Whoever wants to access your operation, provide this URL to the consumer. They can access all your operations using this thing. Okay, if they want to see the definition of these methods, they just need to provide WSDL. If the service is provided, if you just press WSDL, it will give you the complete definition of all methods. Are you to me? Okay. And get all employees. If I invoke it, now I can see the employee information. See, right? This has been arranged in XML format table. This is the first record: employee ID, employee name, and salary. Employee ID, employee name, and salary. I have only 2 records. Read me, and you can see the definition of everything. Employee ID is an integer. Employee name is a string. Salary is a decimal. Address is a string. Reading. Okay. Next, if they want to find out a particular employee, get employee. If I say employee ID is equal to 2, so now I got employee ID 2 information. Okay. Next, save employee. If I want to save a new employee, yes, I'll be able to save it from here on. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Okay. This is something about your web service. Now, how do I consume it? You can be consumed from anywhere, any website, any Windows form, any console application, any type of application. So wherever you need to consume this, go there. I'm going to create a client application. New project. So it can be consumed from anywhere. From console, your client can be a console, your client can be web or Windows. Okay. Anything. You can choose any application. Now I'm going to choose ASP.NET. My web client. Now what should I do? Now here you have to start your service. So your service will be hosted using a unique port number, and this URL has to be provided to the end user. Otherwise, they cannot access it. Now this is my client. Go to your solution explorer, add a new web form. Employee. Right? Now here, go to design, toolbox, keep a data grid. grid view. Okay, this is my grid view. GV employee and keep it in the center. Okay, now on form load, I'm going to call this service, but first, how do I add that service reference here? Okay, so go to your project, right click on this. Here you will see two things: reference, service reference. If you want to add a base class library in third-party library, use reference. If you want to add any service, click on service reference. Here you have to provide the URL. Sorry, what is the URL of your service? This is the URL of your service. Copy this URL, copy this URL, and paste it here. Click on go. So it will extract the complete content of your websites. See here, you can see. Now you can see this is another application here. Now this is client, right? Now it has downloaded the entire WSDL content into your local system. Give the name of your service, employee service, and click on OK. Now see, now the reference has been added here. Employee service is that client, web client. See, under connected service, the reference has been added here. Okay, so go to your page load. Here you can access that employee service. Employee service dot. What is your class name? Employee. And employee service soap client. OBJ is equal to soap client. Now if I say OBJ dot, now I can see get all employees, right? Save employee and get employee. I just need to call this method. What it will give me? It is going to give me, just see the reference of data table. So create a data table here using system.data, right? Now, if I want to get employees, am I interacting with the database? No, I'm calling this service and this method. If I play obj data, I can see only this method names, but I don't know what this method is doing internally. It is going to which database and which SP is being called. Is it visible here? No. Right? Now you're hiding your database things from third-party users. Data table, some DT EMP is equal to. So this is going to return a data table. I'm just getting that stored into one of my local variables. Now bind it to your grid view. GV employees dot data source is equal to DT EMP and GV employees dot data bind. Right? Now through this service, now I can perform any operation. Any questions, guys? Keep a breakpoint here and run your web application. This is your client. Now that service can be called from anywhere. Right? Now we came here. Now what it will do? It creates object of your service class. Now object has been created. Now we are calling get employee service. See, it called that method and data has been extracted. Now I can see the data. Right? Now I'm able to get employee data through my web service. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Okay, so this is something about your web services. So the next session from tomorrow onwards, we are going to learn the MVC application, ASP.NET MVC. So far we have seen how to design your console application, how to design your web application, how to design your remoting service, like distributed application, right? How to develop your library, and how to expose your operations to third party using another powerful distributed application called web service. And how to access, how to consume these services from different clients, right? And from tomorrow, we will see like how to design your web application using MVC architecture. Okay.
Okay.
So if you don't have any questions, please do practice these things before joining the next session. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.